Ahoy! You are listening to
Glass Half Full.
I'm Mulla, the sensible twin.
And I'm Laura, the funnier, prettier, braver, smarter, more...
Okay, we get it. Anyway, welcome to our podcast, where we chat over a hot beverage.
Or cold, it's completely your choice.
About bits and bobs that help us feel more positive.
And don't forget humor. We are very, very funny as well.
Yes, anywho, hope you enjoy.
Yes, hope you enjoy. We're so funny, like really funny. Hi everyone.
Hello.
You are seeing us hopefully on YouTube, but if you are not, if you're listening to us, for example, on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, then feel free to go over to YouTube at some point if you want to see us, because we are trying what's all this video podcasting about and such. And because we've recently changed our format, and there's Dolce as well, I don't know if you guys see her, we're gonna do a much shorter one. So here goes. Yeah. So Ulla, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking water, which is like way out there.
Do you want it?
It's okay right now.
Okay.
So yeah, water.
Great. Well,
what are you drinking?
I'm gonna do this, and I'm really hoping that ASMR fans will really enjoy that.
Open for sponsorship.
Yes, this is Dr. Pepper Cherry Crush, and it is gassy, so that's fun. Cool. Right. We still will keep one part of our podcast the same, which is shoutouts every now and then when we have them. And I actually have a shoutout from this week. My work took me to Pankari because we have a group there at the moment that we're doing, film and radio work with. And there is a local volunteer, Rihanna, who is a entrepreneur. So trader, yes, I'm holding it the wrong way, of Trusted Hands, which is she's doing basically natural products. So this one is a wild rose and bee wax by Dolce lip balm, called, so wild rose lip balm. And I don't know if you can see it quite well, but the cork of it is made by her as well with yarn. See?
Oh,
so cool.
So sweet.
And what I like is that they have a little ladle here to basically put lip balm on your... I'm assuming it's like this, and then you just kind of like... I don't know. Okay, I put too much. Can I put some on you?
No.
I
You
put
need
too
a
much.
tissue.
No, but it's so good, and it's so, like I used to have a very similar one, and it was very, very like hard to take out. This one is nice and soft.
I don't have anything against this particular thing. It just didn't want
my
it
one
to come from yours.
Look at Dolce. Like, what's this? Did you want some? Don't you?
I don't know.
It's natural. But perhaps just
All
in case
natural ingredients.
So it's very, very cool. She is based in Pankari and currently doesn't have a online shop. But watch this space even. And we're going to tag her. It's Trusted Hands. We're going to tag her on our... Well, when this podcast episode goes live. So you can go and find out. She does... her tagline actually says... let me see... What does it say?
Someone's done their homework.
Create, learn, grow. So she's all about not just buy my products, but also like advocate for like how you can grow your own remedial and other plants and find out what the properties are. And it's all about natural. It's with really natural ingredients that she does things. There's also ointments, for example, on her Instagram I saw she had like a burn or something, and then she or her son and put the ointment on, and it made it better. So it's a good local Aberdeen small business, which would be absolutely lovely if you guys are near Pankari. Go follow her. You don't have to be near Pankari, but passing by Pankari, for example, she sometimes sell her stuff in number 1 Pankari, which is a community space. So so Trusted Hands and does ointments. I think there was some honey, if I remember correctly. Lip balms, creams, cleansers, I'm sure as well. Soaps. Little pouches of different petals of flowers and stuff like that. So anyway, I have taken up a lot of our 20 minutes already, but please go follow her. So I'll pop that here. Right, boundaries.
Yeah, our today's topic is boundaries.
Boundaries.
Did you want to start?
Yes, because I thought what better way to start than actually looking at the definition of boundaries. So boundaries, the Oxford, was it Cambridge? Cambridge Dictionary is saying, it's the limit of what someone considers to be acceptable behavior. So, or obviously physical boundary is a real or imagined line that marks the edge or limit of something, which also goes for the boundaries that we are speaking about, but perhaps the first one would go more. And then quickly, before I give you the word, is that I found out what are the different types of boundaries, and there are a lot of different classifications, let me tell you. But their main kind of ones that I found, sorry, I'm just quickly checking here because there's honestly so many, is the physical, emotional, there's also sexual, obviously, but there's financial, spiritual, intellectual, material, like loads of different boundaries. But we are mostly touching upon emotional boundaries.
Yeah, what we're comfortable on and stuff.
Yeah.
So we all have boundaries, and we should all respect each other's known boundaries. If you don't know about the boundaries, it's difficult to respect them, but and it's healthy to set boundaries. And for example, me and Laura and I are from Estonia, so it's kind of not everybody in Estonia, but we're like a Nordic Eastern country, and we like to have a lot of personal space, and maybe some other cultures would say that we're a bit cold people, although once you get to know us, we are friendly and you have a friend for life, but moving over here, it was a little bit of a learning curve, even though British people are not that they have their personal spaces as well, but it's still a bit kind of warmer here. So that was a learning curve.
We forgot to put a disclaimer that we are not any sort of medical professionals or anything. We are just two sisters putting our little tuppence worth in.
But it's everybody has an experience with them.
Yeah,
so,
very true. Yep.
One thing I was thinking about that does setting boundaries, does that limit freedom? But in some cases, I think it gives more freedom, in a sense that if I set healthy boundaries and maybe say no to some stuff, I have more freedom to do whatever I want as well. And driving here, I was actually listening to a podcast by Rob Lowe, which is called Literally, because he says it in the Parks and Rec all the time. His character says literally. So his guest this time was Mel Robinson. She is a best-selling author, and she also has her own podcast, the Mel Robinson podcast.
Yeah.
And she has a new book out, which came out December, just end of last year, which is called the Let Them Theory. So her take on it is that, I need to find this page. It's kind of a modern take on stoicism. Stoicism?
Right.
It's she's saying that let them and let me should really be the only boundaries you need in life. So what it means is when you're feeling down or unhappy or don't have enough energy or you're stressed, it's probably because you've given other people too much power, you let other inconsiderate like strangers or like people that you know stress you out, for example.
I have something on that I want to mention.
It's kind of like she called it as a death by 1,000 cuts. So like your time and your energy are the single most important like sources, like things in your life.
Yep.
And you get to actually choose how you react in different situations. So you can just go like, if there's a long queue in the supermarket and staff are like just gossiping in an aisle somewhere, rather than like attending to the customers, you can just say, let them. And you can walk out if you want, or go and speak to them, but like no point like just like, oh, when are they coming? Like stress yourself out in that sense.
Can I say one thing about that?
Sure.
Because I was going to talk about, because I was also researching about boundaries. So I listened to a different podcast to you that's literally Boundaries Queen. So her name is Victoria Priya, and she's the author of the Boundaries for Dummies, the Dummies series. So she was approached to do the Boundaries one because she's known as the Boundaries Queen. And what you said there, she also said something about that if you feel angry or bitter, there's probably a boundary that needs to be set. Like if you're angry about work, there might be a boundary at work that needs to be like set. And those who know me that recently I have started putting up quite big barriers. And since this year, or even like end of last year, instead of always like apologizing, like, oh, sorry, I don't want to do an evening or anything like that. Not that like my manager is very reasonable person. It's not anything about that at all. But like for myself, like I felt sometimes guilty that I'm not doing like evening.
Yeah, extra stuff.
Yeah,
but that's what
stuff.
it is. It's extra.
Exactly. And I'm like, now I'm saying, I'm not lazy. I'm not like not wanting to help. I do my work to the best of my ability, but I have boundaries in place for my own time. Yeah. So it's different approach for myself. I'm more being self-compassionate. Sorry.
Because life is more than just work,
Well, yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so another thing was that she mentioned that a lot of people, and us as well, you outsource your happiness to other people, and you can't actually control them, and so like you actually need to realize that your happiness is your responsibility. I will say it again. Your happiness is your own responsibility. Nobody can make you feel happy in a sense that like I can't climb into someone else and like pull their mouth strings and put a smile on your face. Like it's your how you deal with things. Yeah.
On that, can I chime in there? Because our friend Maria, who sent in her take on things as well, is saying the same. Like she's saying, boundaries are for your protection and are only your responsibility. Exactly what you said there. A lot of people use boundaries as a threatening tactic. They shouldn't be weaponized. It's like, if you do this, there'll be revenge kind of thing. They're not a retaliation. They're not meant to hurt others directly. It's on you to maintain them. And she gives a good example, and Victoria Priya also in the podcast kind of says similar things as well, is that boundaries, when you don't respond to text messages, let's say, or any Facebook message after 9 p.m., but not like just a demand, so it's different between boundary and demand, is that you ask people not to contact you after 9 p.m. and then get upset because you can't control them. So it might be a difficult thing to do, but it's not meant to be a guilt-tripping exercise to maintain a boundary. You're doing it for yourself, so you're basically also doing it because you're recognizing your self-worth and taking up space. So yeah, like you said, you can't be like setting it, you can't set a boundary on other, but you can set how they can affect you or like talk to you or something. Yeah, very true. Very true.
She also was saying that it's also kind of like you need to, for you to be healthy and like good, you need to have these kind of boundaries that like, for example, everybody's favorite place, social media.
Yep.
Like you can maybe work on a post so long and then delete, and like you're worried about what other people think of you. Yeah. It's actually you cannot please everyone, and you can't really like. Did you say that everybody has like 70,000 thoughts a day, and like you cannot help like even if there's someone that you like and your friend, they're bound to have negative thoughts as well. You can't control what they think of your post and stuff. Like the thoughts just sometimes come randomly. We are hardwired to think of negative things first and stuff as well. So like let them, don't worry so much about what other people think. It's, I know, easier said than done.
Yeah.
But what for? You can't control how other people perceive it.
No. That's a good point, actually, because coming back to Victoria Priya as well, like, it was interesting because she mentioned a listening boundary. So you said, like, you can't control what other people, like, do, or, but you also, like, you have the ability to put a listening boundary. I was like, listening boundary? It's like, not everything you listen to, you have to, like, not everything you hear, you have to listen and take in as the truth, like, especially in our polarized world where there's a lot of fake news. So you have the listening boundary. You can do a listening boundary or talking boundary, which is basically think before you speak, and speak clearly and kindly, which I sometimes don't do, obviously. Those who know me, I know, like, I can be sassy. I'm not, like, the most amazing, friendly person, but I'm work in progress. But basically, I was like, I've never heard of, like, a listening boundary. That's interesting.
The same is, like, discussing topics boundary. Like, you're fully within your rights to say, like, if there's a topic that you, it's too close to home, or, like, it's polarizing. It's like, you can say that right now, politics, for example, or religion, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, can you respect it?
Yeah.
Or someone's personal health. It's perfectly fine. It doesn't mean that you're like, like, what's it called? Like,
that you're, like, being just, like,
stickler, or like.
Yeah. Can I say one thing
Because
also?
like, news and politics and stuff,
Yeah.
it's usually quite negative. So, like, there's nothing wrong with trying to think of more positive things,
Yeah.
It's good to be informed, but then within reason.
Yeah. With that, I thought, actually, in time, as a humanity, our boundaries have changed. We have more boundaries, but also we have less boundaries nowadays. Isn't it interesting? Because, like, we now have social media, so we let people into our lives if we choose to, much more. So even, like, famous people might seem like a friend down the street, and you feel like you don't have that boundary that in decades ago you would be like, oh my God, like, wow, that's Elvis Presley, would never, like, you wouldn't do a selfie with them, and now it's completely that boundary, sadly, people pass. However, on the flip side, we have more boundaries because, for example, with disabilities, LGBTQ, there's more awareness and more done about people's rights, so there's more boundaries that are kept, like, so it's interesting. I was thinking the other way, it's not just gone one way, it's gone both different ways.
The
boundaries,
like, adapted. And one last thing I wanted to say is that boundaries, if you're setting boundaries, you're bound to disagree with some people. And have, like, maybe confrontations or something. So it's totally fine to disagree with someone, and then, but still speak to them respectfully.
Yeah, that's something that we all need to do at work as well. Obviously, myself and Tulla, we work with, we're in a helpful role. That's our whole thing. And sometimes we do also want to push people, but there's a big difference for their own good, a little bit out of the comfort zone. There's a big difference if you're pushing someone to help them, or if you're crossing their boundary, and that's something we need to constantly be aware of as well. Do you want to say something to finish this topic off? I know that we've rattled a lot of, like, info out, but basically, what's your main thing about boundaries that you wanna?
It's okay to have boundaries, and it doesn't mean that it takes away from your freedom.
Yeah, people, like, there's a lot of talk about boundaries, and people are like, oh, it's just basically rules that you set up, and other people have to, like, walk on eggshells around you. It's not in my opinion, it's like if you're doing, for example, you're doing something that, like, you're a nice person, for example, most of the time, and then you pushed and then you can put like, no, that's not how I
Exactly.
allow myself to be treated. But you can be kind about it, which is where I struggle, because I sometimes I'm not. I'm like, hold it in, boom, boom, which is
Same.
not healthy. But yeah, that's my take on that.
It comes from experience as well, like, but
Yeah.
you feel like you can't set the boundary until it's like, I don't know, like magnified or something.
Absolutely.
sometimes.
We would like, actually, guys, if you want to send us in anything about boundaries, we'll put it on our stories or something. We'll write it up, so we won't say your name if you don't want to. But hopefully that little quick whistle to stop tour in history and some podcasts to listen. Victoria Priya's one is Boundaries Queen podcast.
And yeah, maybe you can, on Audible or somewhere, you can listen to the theory, like the Let Them theory by Mel Robinson.
There we go. And keep your boundaries up. Take care of number one, and that is you.
A new topic will be released in a little while.
Bye!
Okay, bye!
You've been listening to Glass Half Full. Hope it added something positive to your day.
Please follow us on Instagram at classhalf.full or email us at classhalf.full@gmail.com.
We're now also on Facebook.
We've been the Klaas twins, and we will be back again next month with more positive vibes.
Namaste.
No, namaste in bed.
Oh. Oh well.
Oh.